Okay, so for these notes or this test, you need complex numbers. Adding complex numbers, all you're doing is combining like terms. When you're subtracting and you have a subtraction of a binomial, you need to remember to distribute that negative into the binomial. Because you're subtracting that whole binomial, and so it will change the signs on those terms that you're subtracting. Multiplying, you multiply just like you would multiply binomials, and that's the case for a lot of these. A lot of these rules are very similar to regular variables. So you do the FOIL, distribute twice, but remember, when you get an I squared is equal to -1. And with dividing, multiply by the numerators, multiply by the denominator's conjugate. A plus BI has a conjugate of A minus BI. Remember standard form. Is A plus BI, the real part first, the imaginary part second. One, you have to know the quadratic formula. X equals -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Remember that last part, the all over 2a. Simplify what's inside the radical first. Don't forget to simplify the radical using birthday cake, factor tree. I'm not going to write that part. Use i's if it's a negative inside the radical. And reduce if necessary. Solving by square roots. Get the x squared by itself. Take the square root of both sides. Don't forget the plus or minus. And if it's a negative inside the radical, again, remember the I. You can write that down also. For graphing parabolas in standard form, start by finding the vertex, -b over 2a. Plug x in to find y. And then make your chart. For vertex form, the vertex is HK. Remember to use opposite H. That's in the formula. you have, remember, y equals a x minus h squared plus k, not the opposite of the k. And then make the chart. Changing from standard to vertex. Remember, you're grouping the x squared term and the x term and completing the square by adding b over 2 squared. But remember, you also need to subtract it. That's all I'm going to write for that part. Look in your other notes. If you want to write more, you can. Graphing absolute value. Same things as graphing parabolas with the h and k as your vertex. The shifting, remember h shifts horizontally, k shifts vertically. A stretches or compresses. And if the A is negative, it opens down. The one thing you can do when graphing this, you can use A as a slope. Only because the V is formed as two lines.